Hello friends, today we'll discuss with the topic hormonal control of reproductive cycle. And when I speak about reproductive cycle, it is a very common feature in all the organisms including mammals. And in mammals we can see that this is slightly different than the other vertebrates. In some mammals there is a brief period of very intense sexual activity followed by a long period of non-sexual activity, and that brief period of sexual activity in male we can call it as rutting season, and similar or corresponding sexual drive or sexual urge seen in female we call it as the period of heat or estrus period. And most of the female, it is seen that they are receptive to their male partners only during this period of heat. And so this continuous cyclic process taking place in a female, we can call it as the reproductive cycle. And we can see that in primate, this particular cycle in females are known as the menstrual cycle, and in non-primate it is better known as the estrous cycle. So now we are concerned with that reproductive cycle in a primate, that is a human. Okay, so in menstrual cycle I can say that including us, it begins with the first time when she gets the puberty. And this cyclic changes, it take place in two levels in the human. That is, the cyclic changes concerned with the ovary and that of the uterus. And the cycle of changes, that is from the formation of egg till its release, and again the other changes concerned with the ovary, I can better well call it as ovarian cycle. And the other one, the second category, that is when there is changes taking place in the uterus, especially the uterine wall, I can call it as uterine cycle, and that is normally concerned with a non-pregnant individual. We'll start with the first level, that is the ovarian cycle. As I said, it is speaks about the cyclic changes taking place in the ovary, and thus constitute of three major phases, that is follicular phase, ovulatory phase, and the luteal phase. We'll start with the follicular phase. Follicular phase, as the name indicates, it is concerned with the formation of ovarian follicles, and this cycle starts from the first day of menstruation when the bleeding starts. Similar, parallelly, there is changes taking place in the ovary. So this starts with the very first day of menstruation, and move and extend till the 14th day. That is during till the ovulation. And in this phase, here we can see that the maturing follicle, the primary oocyte become uh, increase in its size, and it becomes surrounded by the cuboidal cells, follicular cells. And at this time, I can call that follicle as primary follicle. And again, further growth and development take place in the follicles till it forms the Graafian follicle, mature Graafian follicle. And at that time, it may be hosting the secondary oocyte. Now we'll move on to the ovulatory form. In ovulatory phase, I could see that the Graafian follicle is well ready for the rupturation, and it ruptures and releases the secondary oocyte along with the neighboring cells, that is Columbus oophorus cells. And this process I can call it a ovulation, and normally take place in the 14th day of an average 28 day cycle cases. And this process of ovulation it just takes only 2 to 3 minutes for it. Now the ovulated egg is released and it reaches the body cavity, from where it finds its way to the fallopian tube. Now next is the luteal phase. The third phase, luteal phase, we could see that what happens in the leftovers in the ovary. In the ovary, we can see that now what is left over is the leftover Graafian follicle from ruptured follicle. And this follicles gradually, as a sign of wound healing. It starts with the filling up of the blood clot. And at this stage, I can call it as corpus hemorrhagicum. And gradually, I could see that once the blood fills, it becomes clotted, becomes the corpus hemorrhagicum. There occurs the follicular cavity gets closed over by the as part of healing, and now it becomes filled with the serous fibrin particles, and it replaces the blood clot. And now I and it becomes glandular too, because it gets the capacity to release hormones like progesterone and very little estrogen too. At this stage, very well call it as the corpus luteum with yellow color. And if a female is pregnant, this corpus luteum is retained in the body for almost 3 months. And this is to maintain the pregnancy. But what if she is not pregnant? If she is not pregnant, the usual cycle continues. The corpus luteum starts degenerating, and now it becomes a white fibrous mass of tissues. Very well, now I can call it as the corpus albicans because of its white color. So all these changes taking place in the ovary leading to the ovulation, starting from the formation of the follicles to the maturation to Graafian follicles to ovulation, and later on the formation of corpus albicans luteum, and then ending with corpus albicans. All these activity or phases collectively is known as the ovarian cycle. Now just we could see the menstrual cycle when the follicle gradually develops and forms the primary follicles, secondary follicles, and the Graafian follicles. On the 14th day, it is released. So from the first day of menstruation to the 14th day, I can call it as follicular phase. The almost in the 14th day, when there is a release of the oocyte, secondary oocyte, that process is known as ovulation, and that phase I can very well known as the ovulatory phase. And the rest after ovulation, corpus hemorrhagicum, corpus hemorrhagicum, corpus luteum is from that corpus luteum and ends with the corpus albicans. So from that particular day to that 28th day uh, time being, the third phase I call it as luteal phase. And now this could be very well explained with the cross-section diagram, that is primordial follicle, secondary follicle. Now it becomes the Graafian follicle. It has been ruptured with the corpus oophorus cells, and once it is left, the blood fill becomes first it becomes corpus hemorrhagicum. Later on in this picture, we could see that it gets closed up and it is filled with yellow fibrous tissues. Now fibrin compounds, and now it becomes corpus luteum. And corpus luteum gradually, if there is no pregnancy, it is being gradually degenerating into fibrous white tissue, white mass of tissues. We call it as corpus albicans, and gradually degenerates off, and again a new cycle starts. So this is the cycle. Now, second cycle is the uterine cycle. So, second level of this menstrual cycle was the uterine cycle. So, first one we already discussed, that is ovarian cycle. Now, the changes of cyclic activity taking place in the uterus could be discussed. So, uterine cycle. So, along with that, changes taking place in the ovary, there are some changes in the uterus too, and these changes collectively is known as uterine cycle, and it is normally by average it is of 28-day interval, and it may vary from one individual to another. It can vary from 20 days to 45 days, and even in the same person itself, it may changes from 1 month to another. That is, for 1 month, if I'm having that menstrual this uterine this period, menstrual period cycle of 28 day, in another second month I may be having it for 30-day cycle. So accordingly, it may vary from one person to another, and also in the same person from 1 month to another. And this phase of uterine cycle consists of three phases: menstrual phase, pre-ovulatory phase, and post-ovulatory phase. So we'll start with the first phase, that is menstrual phase. It starts with the first very day when there is a menstrual flow starts, and it extends up to 5 days. And as we know, it involves, as the name indicates, there is a discharge of blood. Along with that, tissue fluids, mucus, degenerated or slaughtered off, removed endometrial, that is the inner lining of the uterus, is also being slaughtered off, and it runs through the vagina. A thin discharge is and this thin discharge we call it as the this discharge I call it as menses or menstruation. In average cases, women 50 to 150 ml menstrual fluid has been released. The uterine, the functionalis layer, the uppermost layer is being slaughtered off, and along with that it ruptures the blood vessels, and that rupturing is the one responsible for hemorrhage and the bleeding or the red color coming out through the menses. Next is the pre-ovulatory phase, that is from the 5th day to the 14th, that is from the 6th day. Till 5 days we are having menstrual phase. So just after the 5th day, that is from 6th to 14th day cycle, and we can see that this is the stage between, I can say, between the menstrual and the ovulation. So during this stage, because already the already leftover things are being run off, taken out, it has been wiped off from the uterus. Now new endometrium have to be constructed. So here we can say a new stratum functional, a new wall of the uterus has been constructed. That is that layer I call it a stratum functionalis, and the thickness of this goes on increasing for about 5 to 6 fold. And since there is very active mitotic proliferation, the wall size goes on increasing, as I said, 5 to 6 fold. And now this phase, since there is cell divisions too, I can very well call it by another term as proliferatory phase. Third phase is a post-ovulatory phase, and it extends from the 15th to the end of that menstrual cycle, that is 28th day, if it is a 28-day cycle, till the next menstruation. And we can see that this turns from from the next time as just after the ovulation. Just after the ovulation, the uterus is always in a belief that it will be having a baby. So that again it prepares itself for the receival of a baby. And here we can see that it undergoes, as I said, it undergoes a preparatory changes like further thickening of the endometrium, so that there is no problem for the fetus. The important changes so taking place during this phases therefore include more vascularization, blood circulation, so that the uh, implanted fetus will have a great circulation, vascularization of the endometrium, enhanced development of the glands, accumulation of the food reserve glycogen in the endometrial cells. So this secretion of glycogen-rich nutritive fluid into the uterine cavity and an increase in the amount of tissue fluids are all part of post-ovulatory phases, as if there is a preparation. So this phase is better well known as preparatory phase. And just after the post-ovulatory phase, the we could see that the endometrium might be like 5 to 6 millimeter thickness and looks like a very soft wet actually, because there is high vascularization and wet and highly nutritious, that is glycogen reserves too bed, and now it looks like a soft wet and nutritious bed, ideal for the implantation and the further development of embryo. And just after that post-ovulatory phase, the last 2 days, I could always call it as the premenstrual phase. That is, in the absence of pregnancy, what happens? The endometrial arteries, they contract. Now there is no pregnancy, means there is no need of endometrium. So just before menstrual flow